welcome back. We are gonna go and finish up with Diana, the lady seductress, and maybe we'll become a queen or a princess or something. But anyway, here we go. She taught me about magic. Even when the day ended, I needed to learn more. I began to crave it. It seems like at least we're kind of not under her thrall anymore. I begged Diana to stay. Hold on. Despite knowing our deal, Diana, despite promising to only stay a day, agreed to stay longer to tell me more. Soon, days passed by, filled with lessons and examples of magic. Knowing I would be missed at school, Diana quickly took care of making sure I wasn't missed. Using a simple spell, as she called it, she created an illusion of me to go in my place. It was real to humans and acted just like me, but was like a ghost to demons. I kinda wished I would remember that spell. She told me of vampires, creatures that looked just like humans who had an inner hierarchy. There were 4 types of vampires, but all of them were under oath by the rule of worlds not to hunt humans. So what did they drink? It was strange and felt like a fictional novel, but Diana promised that vampires were not like the books. They had adapted to living with humans, creating a formula that allowed them to walk around during the day. They even had a blood bank as currency and made synthetic blood to quench their thirst. Do they not have their own world then? They had real blood to drink, of course, but they got it either through hospital blood drives or black market means. It was surreal. Devils were as chaotic as Malix was, but they were still all under the command of a very powerful fallen angel and devil king, Satan. He, however, still had the heart of an angel. He was simply sitting in hell and waiting for an opening into the human world. I hoped it would never come. Angels, on the other hand, were not as I expected. When I thought of angels, I imagined beautiful, human-looking creatures with wings and halos.
I still wonder who spread that rumor.
Dan explained they actually looked monstrous. Each archetype of angel looked different, but Diana couldn't describe them all. The ones that stood out to me were the seraphim. She described it as a mysterious creature that hid behind 3 large pairs of wings. There are some cool... What if they did look human? But there are some
Well,
cool
anyone
designs.
who has met a seraphim and tried to find out has not lived to spill the secret.
I gulped. It was scary to hear that for some reason. Angels were very strict and not as forgiving as many claimed. According to Diana, they had a love-hate relationship with humans, but they didn't try to dominate us. They were only mediators for the rule of the worlds. Fair enough. Why not?
I'd rather not get into that.
Why?
It's not my place to talk about heaven. Only the angels.
She also mentioned methods for memory removal. As the self-proclaimed guardians of the humans, they had the right to baptize humans who held memories of otherworldly creatures should they find any in the human world. Baptism not only erased the memories of magic, but their whole memory was clean. They wouldn't remember who they were or what they knew. They were a blank canvas. The demons, however, unlike the others, were passive creatures that only truly cared for their own world. They had their own lands, kingdoms, and lords living there. The most powerful demon in the Abyssal Plains was the Demon Lord. He was the Incubi boy's father, and he was a ruthless man. He'd conquered several kingdoms with a massive, indestructible army. Many demons died in his brutality, but when he did conquer, life for demons was like the human Renaissance. Many feared what land he would attack next. However, to everyone's surprise, he tried to be peaceful with Diana's kingdom as she was offered as a bride to one of his sons. We already know all this, though. Why would you accept that?
I had no choice. I was barely a child when the decision was made, and when I learned of it, I had accepted it.
Why, though? How would you know if you would be in love with the guy you married?
It didn't matter. My kingdom would be safe, and I would be able to live with knowing I was able to protect my kingdom.
I stared at Diana. She smiled at me with sad eyes. She really didn't want to marry them. It was practically painted all over her face. You shouldn't have to marry someone you don't love, because there's a nice little human girl you can take care of over here. Diana's face shifted to one of surprise as she looked at me. I was being honest, though. She shouldn't have to marry someone to protect a kingdom. Oh, how little I know of politics. It would be safe, yes, but you would be unhappy. Can you live with yourself knowing that?
I'd rather be unhappy than see my kingdom burn to the ground. Besides, as the bride of the next demon lord, I'd have the ability to change things. I could disband his armies, bring peace to the Abyssal Plains.
But what about love?
Love?
Diana looked at her lap and sighed.
Love can't exist for me. I'm the most powerful succubus in the demon world. Anyone who would go after me would only be entranced by my power.
I'm not? I don't know what to say. I guess you're right, or I'm not. I'm not? Diana chuckled, making me blush a bit. I was being honest, and here she was laughing at my words.
You're a human, dear. You can't know when I'm using my powers or not. I could be using them now, making
She
you
looks so
interested in
happy.
me to trust me.
But you're not, are you? Diana then silenced herself. She stared at me, knowing that her silence was giving me my answer. I smirked at her. You like me.
What?
You like me. You definitely like me.
I do not. I'm merely fulfilling my end of the deal.
I don't know about that. I felt like a tease. She was being nice to me and wasn't using her powers over me because she liked me. It was too obvious. And she stayed way longer. You like me. You like me. You... What I didn't expect was her taking my hand and forcing me closer to her. A mere inch separated our lips, but Diana's stare into my soul made my mind go blank. I barely remembered what I was saying. Diana remained holding me. I didn't fight. She stared into my soul and I allowed it. I was concerned and at the same time, I was intrigued. Diana was indeed a beautiful woman. Seeing her up close made my face turn slightly red in embarrassment. Any moment she could lean in and kiss me, maybe even take my energy. However, she didn't.
You are interesting for a human.
She then released me and stared at me, watching as I stared back at her with a red face. Did I like her? I shook my head. No way. That was impossible. We were just in a business deal, nothing more.
Is there anything else you wanted to know?
Yes. I stared at her as I thought. Was there anything else I wanted to know? My memories were forfeit in the end, so everything was up for grabs. Yet I couldn't think of a single question to ask. Was that all I wished to know? No, there was nothing else I needed to know. I felt satisfied. That should be all.
I understand.
Diana stood and adjusted the bottom of her dress before smiling at me. I barely noticed how much time had passed between us. It felt like forever, yet I enjoyed learning more. I felt bad that I had to lose my memories. However, that was the deal, and according to Diana, demons never go back on their word.
Well, if you don't mind, there's one place I need to visit, and I'd rather visit it now than after I take your memories. I'll be gone from the area for quite a while, anyway.
Where do you need to go?
A cemetery. There's something I need to do there. It's boring, sadly, but I need to do it. You need to come with so I can watch you.
What? Why did she need me to go to the cemetery? Did she have a human friend she needed to say goodbye to, or did she have to meet with another demon?
Sure, let me...
No need to get dressed up. It's just a brief visit.
Diana snapped her fingers and the world melted into black. I stood and walked to beside Diana, unsure of what was happening. Why wasn't the world spinning instead? Was the spinning a trick she did?
Myself clicked my teeth in irritation of the thought. Soon the world grew back its color, and we were standing in a field I somehow recognized. I looked down and regretted it. Hello, Grandpa. It was untouched and as clean as when I remembered seeing it. Why were we here?
Here we are.
Here? I stared at Diana as she muttered a small incantation under her breath. In her hand swarmed a small vase with purple lilacs. She gently knelt down and placed them beside the grave.
I had to pay my respects to this man.
Why? Were you a friend of his? I needed to know. My man began screaming. Something wasn't right. Why did she know him? How did she know he was dead? What was their relationship? What was going on?
No, I wasn't a friend of his. I didn't even know him.
Oh, then why are you giving him flowers? Mine began to screech louder in my head. What was it? Why? Dana, why are you giving him flowers?
You don't need to know. I highly doubt you knew this man.
What? Yes, I do. Dana stared wide-eyed at me, a mixture of her fear and surprise mixed in her eyes. My heart began to squeeze tightly in my chest. Why was she looking at me like that?
How do you know him?
He's my grandfather. Answer my question.
How?
I said answer my question. I couldn't hold in my voice. I needed to hear her answer, and I didn't want to hear anything else. Anything other than her answer would infuriate me. Anne looked down at the grave, letting out a small sigh. My heart tightened further. Answer me. I needed the answer.
This man helped the boys come to the human world. He opened a bridge and let them through, before sealing it with a part of his life force.
Mm-hmm. There was more. I knew there was more. I remained silent as she took a breath.
I had come to visit their castle one day, and when they told me that the boys were gone, I became frantic. Without the contract marriage, the Demon Lord would have had the freedom to march on my kingdom and conquer it. I couldn't let that happen. So I tried to find a way here. I searched the castle during my brief visit, trying to find out where the boys went. I found it. This man left behind a small trace of his spell, small enough to be undetected by the inhabitants of the castle.
But you could find it? A look on her face that already made my pained heart make it feel like it was punctured by needles.
Demon magic is best with consent, but takes more energy when forced. So, in a blind need, I recast the spell and used that man's life force to open the bridge once more and seal it completely when I walked through. I didn't know I was taking the rest of his life.
That's so sad.
By the time the bridge closed, the man had already passed. He was visiting someone in a nearby hospital, so when I left to find the boys, the staff had found him and tried to revive him. I didn't want to take his life. I thought he was a younger man. I didn't know he was as old as he was. It's my fault this man is dead. But I needed to come to the human world, and he was my only chance to get close enough to track the boys down.
Dana tensed up and stared at me. Her face was painted with regret and sadness, something not unlike her usual self. You killed my grandfather?
Your grandfather.
I don't know if I should run or attack her. I'm just gonna run. I needed to leave. I needed to go. I quickly turned and ran, hearing Diana call out for me from behind.
Wait!
I ran. I didn't look back. I couldn't look back. She started all of this. She was the one who turned my world upside down. She was the reason for this chaos I was in. She took my grandfather away. I ran through the gates of the cemetery into the streets to my house. It's not her fault, though. She didn't know. This time the world was in slow motion, and I was the one going in fast forward. I didn't care what was going on around me. I just needed to run. My heart began to freeze in my chest, the pain feelings of needles and knives piercing through it. Tears were running down my face, but I knew where I was running. I ran through the front gates of my house and sprinted inside. I zipped up the stairs and ran to my room. By the way, where are the boys during all this? That's okay. I began to weep violently. I leaned against the door and slid to the ground crying. My world was crumbling and I didn't like it. My world was broken apart and I didn't want it. My heart denied me from thinking about anything else. I cried and cried. I let my heart empty of its pain with each tear that ran down my cheeks. I'm not gonna. My scream echoed through my room, bouncing around and reverberating into my ears. I didn't care if it hurt to hear it. I didn't care about anything anymore. All I cared about was crying. I curled into a ball and cried. I didn't even know when I passed out. I didn't remember closing my eyes and letting darkness take me. The darkness was comforting. I felt my sadness numb within it. There was no reality in darkness to haunt me or hurt me. I wanted to stay within it forever. However, my body forced me to open my eyes. I saw the room focus around me and realized I was staring at the ceiling. I was in my bed under my covers. I sat up and looked around, stopping to see Diana leaning against the balcony window away from me. Why was she here? Did she carry me to bed? I noticed the puffiness around her visible eye. Oh, she was crying too. She wanted to be angry, but Had she been crying? Seeing her bloodshot puffy eye made me fully aware of my own eyes and how dried they'd become after crying. I rubbed my eyes and let out a shaky sigh.
I'm sorry.
I stared at Diana. My heart didn't want to hear it, but I let her speak.
I didn't want to come here in the first place. I only thought of bringing the boys back to protect my kingdom, so everything else became secondary. I didn't mean to take his life.
But you did.
I did. I can't ask for forgiveness, but I still am sorry. If I could turn back time, I would find another way.
You know, it's because of you that I met the boys.
Huh?
I looked to my blanket-covered lap. I remembered the funeral, the moving, meeting with the boys. Everything came to me at once, and now I had the one puzzle piece that fit it all together. If my grandfather hadn't died, he'd still be living here, and he'd be the one taking care of the boys instead of me. But he died and gave me his estate, so I came and met them for the first time. I looked at Diana, seeing her sad face. I could tell she really regretted her choice, and she was upset. I couldn't sense any deception in her. I guess I have to thank you for introducing me to them and to magic, since my grandfather couldn't do it himself anyway. Diana looked down, pressing her lips together and closing her eyes.
I need to take your memories now.
No, you don't.
A deal's a deal. I fulfilled my part and told you everything. I had nothing left to tell you, and you can't keep those memories.
Yes, I can. I didn't speak. I watched as Diana argued into the air about taking my memories. I felt like she was now doubting the deal, not wanting to take away the truth from me. Did I want her to? This was my chance to return the ignorance. I never remember that she took my grandfather's life. And everything she showed me and taught me. I'd return someday. Don't leave me this way. Also, there was like a Cher reference earlier. Diana stared at me, a look of almost despair on her face. I, however, kept my eyes to her. You took away my grandfather. What gives you the right to take my memories away?
But I'm
not done speaking. Diana shut her mouth, listening obediently. I needed to speak my mind. She had no right to take anything away. I knew the truth now, and that was all that mattered to me. Screw the rules. I deserve to remember everything. I was thrown into this mess because of you. No one has the right to take that away from me. Anything, sorry. Diana took a step towards me, and I was ready to snap at her. However, she gently leaned over me and ran a hand over my head.
all right.
What? Oh, yeah, what?
I won't take your memories.
I stared up at her in shock. Was she serious? Diana smiled at me and stood back up.
You're right. You deserve to know everything. It's the least I can do.
I felt almost joyful. She agreed with me. This was a huge deal. I still didn't forgive Diana, but it was better to know than be left in ignorance. Eventually I would be able to move on. Until then, Diana was willing to stay and teach me the life my grandfather knew in redemption. It was something.
Head back to sleep and I'll teach you more in the morning. I'll stay a few more days until you know everything.
Mm-hmm. You're going to stay forever, aren't you? Something felt off, but I nodded, feeling exhaustion drift over me again. Was it natural? I didn't know. My head began to spin and I needed more rest. Diana gently laid me down and moved the hair from my face.
Rest.
Okay. As if from a spell, I closed my eyes and fell back into an unconscious darkness. My heart was healing, and it would take time to heal. Thankfully, it had time now to heal and to grow stronger. Diana obeyed my word and stayed with me. She owed me so much already and stayed with me for a good week. Within that time frame, she not only taught me everything that she could, but she also assisted me in learning some of my own hidden magic. Woohoo! I could barely believe it. I had demon magic floating through my veins, and I could use it at any time. If I learned how to use my powers earlier, I would have been as strong as a demon. Wait, am I part demon? Oh, humans who learn of demon magic attract demon energy, and I have the potential to use some of it, just like demons, but their full power can only be unlocked in the demon world. Being that my grandfather spent almost his whole life learning about demon magic, his energy carried through to my father, then to me. Oh, okay. When my dad left my grandfather, his energy diminished, but when I came to the home, mine began to grow. According to Diana, I shouldn't have as much energy as I have. I guess I was lucky. Everything was fascinating. I felt waves of excitement and energy run through my body. I was aware of the energy I held and the magic around me. I could even sense Diana's energy, as powerful as it was. One night, however, as I slept, Diana began to waver.
What am I doing?
I heard Diana mutter, waking me from my sleep. I opened my eyes and peeked over my covers to see Diana looking out my window. She looked tired and restless.
I need to get the boys and return home. My kingdom is in danger. Maybe I should call an angel.
My heart froze. She could call on an angel. It would baptize me and make me forget everything. I panicked, but I heard Diana sigh.
But she makes sense. Why should I marry to protect my kingdom? I should be able to... Well, would I? Me against the Demon Lord's entire army. I'm not that strong.
I slowly sat up, looking to Diana still. She seemed only to focus her attention out of the window, unfazed at my rousing.
She's strong, though. The magic in her veins would win me this war. But I can't take her magic. I care for her too much. But she's just a human.
Diana sighed and opened the window.
I need to leave. I have to fight him on my own. I'll use the rest of my energy to get back and hopefully recover when I get there. I hope he hasn't already attacked or is ready for me.
Diana stepped out of the window and stood on the balcony. Was she really going to leave? What about me? Was she going to leave? What about teaching me everything? My curiosity was peaking again, and I needed her here. I didn't know what drew me to her, but I quickly rushed out of bed and ran to the balcony. Wait! Diana turned around and stared at me in surprise. However, she tightened her hands into fists and turned back around.
Go back to bed. I need to go.
No, but you...
I need to go. I'll be back someday. But I need to protect my kingdom. Without the boys, he'll attack at any time. And I need to prepare myself instead of waste my time here.
Excuse you, I couldn't believe it. She really wanted to leave. I overheard her. She wasn't confident about winning. She probably couldn't if he was as powerful as she claimed. Oh, can I say take me with you? I never see her again.
Take care of those memories while I'm gone. You need to keep them secret at all costs. If angels find you, they'll...
Take me with you. I couldn't believe what came out of my mouth. Diana turned to me, also surprised at my words. That way the boys can have the house. I couldn't deny myself. I needed to fulfill this curiosity, and if Diana was going, I was going with her. If I was with her, maybe she could win the fight against the Demon Lord and then come back to the human world with me. An adventure. My heart felt giddy for some reason at the thought. Take me with you. I overheard you. I have the power to help you win your war. I'll help you, and then you'll come back with me and teach me everything.
But I don't deserve your help.
It's okay. I demand it as a deal, demon. Diana straightened up, staring at me in disbelief. I almost couldn't recognize my own voice. In redemption for my grandfather's life, you will take me with you and teach me everything. I will then win your war, and in return, you will return with me to the human world and continue teaching me until I have learned everything. It's kind of a steep price, but sure, whatever. Diana stared. I couldn't tell what was going on in her mind. Was she angry, sad, surprised? As she closed her eyes and smiled, I felt a wave of relief wash over me.
A tongue of ice, even when faced with danger.
Diana then looked at me and held out her hand.
Come then. Help me open a portal, and I'll take you with me.
I nodded and placed my hand in Diana's. For some reason, it felt nice to touch her hand like this. She was going to take me on an adventure I could never forget. She then gently pulled me to her, and both of us began to float up towards the night sky. Ah, we're kissing! Diana's embrace seemed safe, and I felt better being in it than out of it. Sorry, grandfather. Diana looked down at me and ran a hand over my cheek.
You don't know how much this means to me.
I nuzzled into Diana's hand and closed my eyes. Diana gently lowered her hands to my waist, staring down at me as I opened my eyes.
You intrigue me.
I giggled. Don't you mean seduce me? Diana chuckled and grinned at me. Oh my gosh!
Yes, you seduce me.
I smiled before gently reaching up and kissing Diana softly. She stared surprised before closing her eyes and gently returning the kiss. There was no pull of energy nor warm fuzzy enthrallment. It was a simple kiss. It was the one kiss I felt was perfect to start my adventure with. The sky began to melt into darkness as Diana and I kissed each other. It wasn't heated or passionate, yet that kiss spoke many languages to me. Diana liked me and came to care just a little for me. Was this the start of something? Maybe. It was too early to tell. Maybe we'd find romance in the demon world, maybe not. I still had 100 battles to face, 1,000 memories to make, 1,000,000 stories to write. However, this was the change I needed in my life. And that was my happily ever after. End my adventure, I. So is that her true end? Yes, it is, because look, I got the little swooshy bits. So what did you guys think? I thought it was very interesting. We got a little bit more background. I know you guys said that was true. But I'm kind of sad that you never get to interact with the boys when you do her ending. But I liked it. I thought it was kind of funny that she made us jealous with the guys. Yes, I know. Let's see her beautiful pictures. But look, she looks happy there. That's so cute. Okay, let me find her. Where did you go? Dana. Yes. Yay, we got all of your pictures. Sexy lady. Oh, 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 oh. That is a cool picture of her. These are enough pictures for the time being. Anyway, we'll see who I do next. I think I'm gonna go for James because he is a cutie patootie. Look at your face. But we'll see. But I hope you guys enjoy. Please let me know if you have any other games you want me to play in the meantime. I keep trying to play other games and they keep crashing on me. Or like they turn into like weird characters so you can't actually read the text. So I will work on it. But hopefully in the meantime you're enjoying Seduce Me, and I hope you all stay sweet and have a wonderful rest of the week, okay? Thank you so much. Take care.